Welcome everyone to our student information session hosted by WestEd and Song for Charlie and funded by the Oregon Department of Education. We're so excited you could join us and really looking forward to your input and feedback. Your voice matters. So why are we here, you might ask? Well, we're looking to engage with Oregon's youth to better understand their perspectives on opioid use and prevention and how they access information about this critical issue. So your insights will aid us in crafting a meaningful media campaign for opioid prevention targeted at youth and families in our communities. Remember, your voice matters, and you are the experts in the room. We want to hear from Oregon youth like you about what they know about opioid use, where they get information to inform their decisions, and how they use different types of information to help us create a media campaign for schools about opioid prevention for youth and families. We will also want your feedback on the materials we develop to make sure that they will work for youth and families. We look forward to hearing from you and ensuring our efforts resonate with the challenges and the realities you all face. So let's work together to create a safe and informative space for all. So to ensure our campaign is effective and truly resonates with youth, we have organized 4 listening sessions. In session 1 today, we will discuss some terminology and explore how youth access information. In session 2, we will delve further into youth experiences and their preferences for receiving health information. During session 3, you'll have the opportunity to provide input and give feedback on preliminary media materials. And finally, in session 4, we will seek your thoughts on the designed media materials to refine and optimize them. Your participation and insights are invaluable throughout this process, really helping us to create impactful and meaningful resources for opioid prevention. Now, we understand that discussions like these can be challenging. Some of you might feel enthusiastic, but others might feel a little nervous, and that's perfectly all right. Everyone is welcome in this space. Your comfort and safety are our top priorities, and we want to hear what will help make this session a safe space for you. As part of today's session, we'll be gathering your thoughts on this in our survey. Now, rest assured, there will be no punishment or judgment for anything you share here or in the survey. We also recognize that some of you may know people who are affected by substance use, and you are not alone. It's crucial that we create a safe environment for you. We'll have norms and expectations in place to support safe and meaningful conversations in these activities. Your voice is important, and together we can create a supportive community. In navigating hard conversations, it's important to listen actively and approach discussions with compassion and empathy. This helps create a safe space where everyone feels comfortable expressing their thoughts and feelings. We want you to use facts and specifics to really focus on the issues at hand, avoiding generalizations by providing some really concrete examples to prevent any misunderstandings. We also want you to use person-first language. For example, when referring to someone with an addiction issue, you may say, "This is a person with an addiction," rather than calling them an addict. Putting the person first before the behavior or the condition humanizes us all, and it demonstrates respect. We also want you to express your thoughts and feelings honestly while maintaining respect, and acknowledge the emotions of other people, as empathy and understanding are absolutely crucial. And finally, we want you to focus on contribution rather than blame to foster a constructive and supportive dialogue. Remember, context matters, so remain curious and respectful of people's boundaries to achieve a productive resolution. Okay, so here's where we're going today. First, we'll review terms associated with opioid use in social media to ensure that everyone understands the language that we'll be using during the discussions. This is going to set a common foundation for our listening sessions. Then we're going to ask you to complete a quick survey. This will help us to learn more about the information you currently access and guide our future efforts. And if at any point you feel uncomfortable, please take a moment for yourself, and if needed, reach out to a trusted adult or a peer. And remember, if you have questions, feel free to email us at opioidprevention@wested.org. As we start today's session, please be aware that the information you are about to see or hear, it might bring up some difficult feelings or memories. If you find yourself feeling uncomfortable or stressed, please feel free to pause and return whenever you are ready. If it becomes overwhelming, it's perfectly okay not to continue. Instead, seek support from a trusted adult or peer. Your well-being is important, so please take care of yourself. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, do not hesitate to reach out at opioidprevention@wested.org. So before we begin, let's first just review some important terms you're going to encounter throughout our sessions. It's important that everyone has a common understanding. So if at any point you have questions about these terms, please don't hesitate to reach out. During any listening session, feel free to pause and request for clarification on any term. Our goal is to ensure that everyone is familiar with the language that we'll be using as we proceed. This understanding will help us communicate more effectively and support each other in future discussions. Now, in this section, we'll cover some key terms related to substance use. So a substance is any material like alcohol or drugs that affects how our brain and body work. This results in changes in our mood, our awareness, our thoughts, our feelings, or our behaviors. Now, substance misuse refers to using a substance in a way that doesn't align with legal or medical guidelines. And then a substance use disorder is a treatable condition impacting a person's brain and behavior. This can lead to significant problems like an inability to fulfill your responsibilities at work or at school or at home. Even if a person wants to stop, it can be challenging with a substance use disorder. Tolerance occurs when a person's reaction to a substance diminishes as they continue to use it. And withdrawal refers to the negative symptoms that arise when a person stops using a substance. And last, dependency describes a condition where a person becomes physically reliant on a substance despite facing negative consequences. Now let's discuss the different stages on the substance use spectrum. At one end, we have non-use, which entails completely avoiding substances like drugs, tobacco, or alcohol. Moving forward, there's beneficial use. This is where a substance is used in a way that has a positive health, social, or spiritual effect, like taking medication as prescribed, or ceremonial tobacco use. Then we have lower risk use, which has a minimal impact on the individual or their family, such as following low-risk alcohol drinking guidelines. Then we have higher risk use. This involves use that negatively affects a person or their loved ones, like impaired driving or binge drinking. And finally, there's substance use disorder, a treatable condition involving compulsive use despite severe consequences, like the inability to stop using substances, even when we really want to. It's important to note that a person may move back and forth on these stages over time. So what are prescription opioids? Well, they are medications primarily used to treat moderate to severe pain. However, due to their potency and their addictive nature, they can also pose significant risks. So it's important to be aware of common prescription opioids, which include hydrocodone, which is also known under the brand name as Vicodin, oxycodone or Oxy, which is found in OxyContin and Percocet, as well as codeine and fentanyl. Understanding these substances and their effects helps prevent misuse and ensures that they are used safely and appropriately. So as we move forward in our session, let's turn our attention to the topic of fentanyl. Fentanyl is a powerful synthetic opioid known for its high addictive potential. Its potency is remarkable. It is 100 times more powerful than morphine and 50 times stronger than heroin. As a synthetic drug, that means it's produced in laboratories and often made in mass quantities. While it is sometimes prescribed by doctors and used in hospital settings for very severe pain management, fentanyl also can be dangerous. It has the potential to cause overdose or be lethal, especially when found in counterfeit pills or shared outside of a medical setting. So understanding these risks is important to prevention efforts. Now, fentanyl can be produced in two main ways. First, as a pharmaceutical, it is created in a quality-controlled facility and used in prescription medications that's provided by licensed doctors and pharmacies. However, there is also illicitly manufactured fentanyl, which is made without quality control or safety measures, and it's primarily distributed through illegal drug markets. This type is often found in fake or counterfeit pills, also known as fentanyls. So these can be sold as, quote, prescription pills online or by unlicensed dealers, sometimes marketed as Oxy, OxyContin, Percocet, Xanax, Adderall, Norco, Vicodin, Valium, and many more. Fentanyl is also found in other illegal drugs, ranging from ecstasy or Molly, or cocaine or heroin. So it's vital to recognize these distinctions to really understand the risks that are associated with it. Now, most youth, about 75%, are familiar with fentanyl. You may be as well. And most youth, about 94%, perceive taking a pill not prescribed by a doctor as a greater risk. And yet, the spread of illicitly manufactured fentanyl has increased with many overdoses among youth. Now, education addresses substance use in many ways. It can help prevent or delay the first use of drugs. It can help reduce harm. It can help understand substance use disorders. It can also help us to teach refusal skills. It also helps us to connect youth to community resources and interrupt the development of substance use related problems. So prevention for substance use positively impacts other quality of life health concerns such as suicide, mental health, and bullying. Now, harm reduction is a term and a concept that you will hear. Basically, what this means is it's a way to prevent overdose fatalities that incorporates strategies to really support people in using substances to reduce the harms of substance use. It also focuses on prevention, reducing risks, and promoting health. Some ways that we can reduce harm include connecting youth with substance use and mental health resources. We can partner with families and caregivers in identifying resources and supports. We can also provide opioid reversal medications. And it can be what we call safer use supplies, giving some easier access to those. Now, one example of harm reduction is naloxone, or also known as Narcan. So this comes in a spray that you put in someone's nostrils to help them to start breathing again. Paramedics in some schools have naloxone available. Giving someone naloxone will not hurt them. And Oregon even has what's called a Good Samaritan law. This protects people when they help others who are experiencing an overdose. So there should be no fear of getting into trouble to help someone who is having an overdose. Another example of a harm reduction strategy is fentanyl test strips. These are small strips of paper designed to detect the presence of fentanyl in various drugs and drug forms, including pills, powders, and injectables. These strips are a valuable tool for harm reduction, providing a way for individuals to check their substances for the presence of fentanyl, which can help prevent overdoses and increase safety. Whew. Well, you just made it through a lot today, and thank you so much for your attention. Now for the fun part. Let's build a media campaign for schools about opioid prevention for youth and families. Here's what we need your help with. We need help identifying what mediums and channels will work best to communicate to youth and families. Mediums, for example, might include things like posters or flyers, newsletters, or social media posts. And channels, for example, might include YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, email, school announcements, message boards, or messaging apps. Clarifying the messages with the right information so that youth and families will pay attention is so important, which is why your voice matters.
Hola a todos y bienvenidos a esta presentación sobre el uso de sustancias. Hoy vamos a hablar de conceptos claves sobre el consumo de sustancias, sus riesgos y cómo pueden afectar nuestras vidas. Vamos a repasar algunos términos clave en español que ya hemos visto antes en inglés. Es importante que sean familiares con ellos porque con mucha probabilidad los verán nuevamente en la próxima sesión. La idea es que puedan relacionar estos términos con los conceptos que ya conocen, pero ahora en español. Así que prestemos atención, ya que esto les ayudará a comprender mejor el contenido que viene más adelante. Empecemos con los términos sobre el uso de sustancia. Definamos algunos conceptos importantes. Sustancia. Esto puede ser cualquier material como el alcohol y las drogas que afecta el funcionamiento del cerebro y el cuerpo, causando cambios en el estado de ánimo, la conciencia, los pensamientos, los sentimientos o el comportamiento. Tenemos también uso indebido de sustancias. Esto es cuando se usa una sustancia de manera contraria a las indicaciones legales o médicas. Pensemos en algo que nuestra mamá nos dice que no hagamos, pero aún así hacemos. Es algo indebido. Siguiente tenemos trastorno por uso de sustancias. Esto es una enfermedad tratable que afecta el cerebro y el comportamiento de una persona. Puede causar problemas serios en el trabajo, la escuela y el hogar. Aunque la persona quiera dejarlo, puede ser muy difícil. Sigamos con tolerancia. Cuando el cuerpo se acostumbra a la sustancia y su efecto disminuye con el tiempo. Esto es diferente a tener paciencia. La tolerancia es algo que el cuerpo se acostumbra. Abstinencia. Los síntomas negativos que aparecen cuando una persona deja de consumir la sustancia. Y dependencia. Esto es cuando una persona necesita la sustancia físicamente, incluso cuando sabe que le está haciendo daño. Aquí tenemos el espectro del uso de sustancias. Un espectro es simplemente un rango. El uso de sustancias no es blanco o negro, hay distintos niveles de consumo. Empecemos con no uso. Esto es simplemente evitar el uso de sustancias, como ejemplo, no consumir drogas, tabaco ni alcohol. De eso pasamos a uso por sus beneficios. ¿Esto qué significa? Que se usa porque tiene un efecto positivo en la salud, lo social o lo espiritual. Un ejemplo de esto puede ser tomar medicamentos según lo recetado o el uso ceremonial o religioso, por ejemplo, del tabaco. Seguimos con el uso de bajo riesgo. Esto es cuando el impacto es mínimo para la persona y su entorno. Como un ejemplo, beber siguiendo las pautas de consumo responsable. ¿Qué significa esto? No estás manejando después de haber tomado alcohol. Vamos a Uso de alto riesgo. Esto es cuando hay consecuencias negativas para la persona o para los demás. Un ejemplo, como mencioné, conducir bajo efectos del alcohol o beber en exceso. Y terminamos con trastorno por uso de sustancias. Esto es una condición médica en la que el consumo se vuelve compulsivo y difícil de tener, a pesar de los daños que cause. El ejemplo de esto es no poder dejar de beber alcohol o consumir drogas a pesar de querer hacerlo. Es importante saber que una persona puede moverse entre esos estados con el tiempo. Ahora, aprendamos qué son los opioides recetados. Los opioides son medicamentos que se usan para tratar el dolor moderado a severo, pero pueden ser muy peligrosos porque son altamente adictivos. Esto no es lo que tomas cuando te duele la cabeza, sino ya cuando el dolor pasa a mayores. Algunos opioides comunes incluyen la hidrocodona, conocida como Vicodin, también oxicodona, se conoce como Oxycontin o Percocet, la codeína y el fentanilo. Conozcamos un poco más sobre el fentanilo. Existen dos tipos principales de fentanilo, el farmacéutico y el que está ilícitamente manufacturado. ¿Qué significa ilícitamente? Ilegalmente. El grado farmacéutico está fabricado en instalaciones controladas y utilizado en medicamentos recetados por profesionales de la salud, por personas que saben lo que están haciendo. El fentanilo ilegal o ilícito es producido sin regulaciones ni controles de seguridad. Se encuentra en pastillas falsas, conocidas como fentanyls, que van a escuchar esta frase en las siguientes sesiones, que puede ser vendida en línea o por distribuidores no autorizados, que son las drogas ilegales que puedes comprar en la calle. Estas pastillas pueden parecer medicamentos reales como Oxy, Percocet, Xanax o Adderall, pero contienen fentanilo, lo que las hace extremadamente peligrosas. También se encuentran otras drogas como la cocaína, el éxtasis y la heroína. Ya que aprendimos qué es el fentanilo, que es la droga que puede causar daño al cuerpo, aprendamos qué es la naloxona, que es conocido por la marca Narcan. La naloxona o Narcan se puede usar para revertir una sobredosis de opioide. Se administra en forma de spray nasal y ayuda a la persona a respirar nuevamente. Se pone en la nariz. Está disponible para paramédicos y en algunas escuelas. Es seguro. Si se le da a alguien que no tiene opioides en su sistema, no le hará daño. En Oregon, la ley del buen samaritano protege a las personas que ayudan a alguien en una situación de sobredosis. Si tú tienes miedo de ayudar a alguien por meterte en problemas, no temas. En Oregon existe esta ley. El uso de sustancias es un tema complejo y es importante estar informado. Si tienes dudas o preocupaciones, busca ayuda en fuentes confiables y habla con un adulto de confianza. Recuerda, la información es poder. Compartir lo que aprendamos hoy puede ayudar a salvar vidas. Gracias por acompañarme en esta presentación y nos vemos en la próxima. Cuídese mucho.
Well, you've made it to the end. So what's next? First, I want you to write down the code Oregon 25. That's OREGON 25. Then return back to the hub where you started and begin the survey. The survey will ask you for this code, so be sure to jot it down before you go. We know this was a lot to get through, and we appreciate your time and attention today. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks live in our Zoom session. We'll be sending more information out soon. Don't forget the code Oregon 25.